Hiya folks, how you all doing? It's Will here, back again for another fight card prediction, and we're going to be breaking down UFC 205 from the Mecca, Madison Square Garden in New York for the very first time. We're 2 weeks out from this card. I have to get this video out. I can't stop thinking about this card, and I just have to get my thoughts out there regarding this. This card is stacked. 3 title fights on there. Former champions, contenders, you name it, this card has it. This is the biggest card of the year. This is what UFC 200 should have looked like, and it's just, looking at it here, it's just an unbelievable looking card. Topped off with Eddie Alvarez defending his UFC Lightweight title against the UFC Featherweight Champion and the notorious Conor McGregor. I just want to say to all the people that are going out there, I've got a lot of friends going out there. OJ, Ozzy, Alex, I've got plenty going from Ireland. I've got Louise, I've got Matt coming over there from England, and Louise from just down the road there in Falkirk in Scotland. I just want to wish you all the best over there. Have a great time. It's a shame I can't be over there with you for that card, but have a great time over there. As always, you can follow the good guys down below me that put out. I'm going to give a shout out to my MMA prediction video guys out there. There's MMA Kelton, there's Rockstar Z, there's Half the Battle, Dan Levy out there with Sean Carey now in there on his podcast, which is just going to be awesome. The MMA Prophet, there's a load of guys out there, Brandon Kaplan, that you should go and watch their videos, show your support, because we take a lot of shit and stick on this thing. We're just giving your predictions. I just love talking about fights. That's why I make these videos. So please just go show your support. I will put the link to their channels down below, and go and watch their content and have a look and see what you think there. James Lynch, great interviews. The Part and Shot podcast. One of my guys that I can sit. I wasn't just watch interviews with this guy. One of the best guys out there. I'm going to go on to the talking Sevilla MMA guys, who I will rep to the death because I think they're great guys. I've met all the guys and got nothing but good things to say about them. We've got Andrew and Sean who do the Sevilla MMA podcast. Just fabulous content, and it has been like that for the last 3 years, and they're building themselves up, and now they're with Sherdog. They're expanding out. They've got another podcast with Niall and Pete in the Talking Brawls MMA podcast, which is fantastic. So you need to keep your eyes locked on SevereMMA.com on the run-up to UFC 205, which I say is 2 weeks from tonight. It's the early hours of the morning here on the Sunday morning, but please keep your eyes on SevereMMA.com because there's going to be podcasts, there'll be articles, Sean's articles that he writes up. There's just so much that's going to be coming from that website. Pete and Niall will be doing a podcast as well, so please keep your eyes out and go show your support there. Last thing I'm going to get into, last video I mentioned, I have this signed Conor McGregor picture from 3 years ago. I totally forgot I had it. You can win this. All you have to do is come on, if you don't follow me on Twitter, come follow me on Twitter, WillMartin7MMA, retweet, and you're in with a chance of winning. If you don't have Twitter, just leave your name if you'd like to be entered into this, and you can win that Conor McGregor signed picture for me. That was just after his first fight in the UFC there, and you have a chance to win that. And I'm going to be doing future ones. I've got Michael Bisping, Alexander Gustafsson. I just got a great huge picture of Miesha Tate signed from a fight with Rin Nakai, so I think in the future I'll be giving that one away, so keep an eye out for that. So that's kind of all the odds and ends I want to get out the road. We're going to get into this fight card now. This prediction video might go a little bit longer. I usually like to keep it around about 30 minutes at my maximum. It might go on a little bit longer than this because it is a really good fight card. So hopefully you stay with me all the way through it. If you can like, comment, subscribe, leave your picks in the drop down box, most importantly, because I want to talk to you guys about these fights. So leave your thoughts, just whatever you feel about this card down below there, and we're going to get into this card. We're starting off in the women's bantamweight division as we have Liz Carmouche facing off against Caitlin Chookagian. When I was watching tape on these two girls, I was originally going to go with Liz Carmouche. and I've changed my opinion of that, and I've went with Caitlin Chukagian for the win here. Liz Cormish will start. She's a veteran of the WMMA, the women's MMA side of the sport, and she's faced all the best in that division. Beat a few of them, lost to a majority of them. Ronda Rousey, she got her in a very precarious position, got her back, nearly sank in a choke. Ronda managed to get out. Jessica Andrade, who she TKO'd her. She's a girl that's going to probably be next in line, I think, for the UFC Strawweight Champion after this. So Alexis Davis, she lost to Miesha Tate. That was a very controversial decision. She probably actually should have won that one, in all honesty, and I'm a big Miesha Tate fan. But Lauren Murphy, another close fight where she won that one. So she's against Chukagian here, who made a UFC debut with a victory over Lauren Murphy herself. Really decent striker. Really nice combinations and nice footwork and speed that she has as well, and she keeps that going all the way through the fight. The one thing I just don't like is the noises with every move forward, with every strike throw, and just that kind of old school like Muay Thai noises that used to make. I think it was, or it might have been some other martial art, but it puts me off, so I always put it in mute when I've watched that fight. Liked her 1-2s in that fight with Lauren Murphy. Came out and really kind of stunned Lauren Murphy, I think, with her hand speed and get in and out. And just her movement was really, really good. Some really nice knees up the middle that she caught Murphy with there. And she got a deserved victory in that one there. But Cormish is no easy fight for anybody in that division. So this is why I'm thinking, I originally thought Liz Cormish, but I think being in New York, this is going to be a great way to start off this card. And I think that, Cormish has been out for 18 months since that last fight to Lauren Murphy. I think she's had a few injuries as well, and she's not getting any younger, but she is a very tough girl to face in that division. Is it too early for Caitlin Chukagian? Could be, but I think that she can maybe reel off the early rounds while Cormish can maybe come into it. I think Cormish is going to want to really push Chukagian against the cage here and maybe initiate a grappling fight. And see, I think that's where she has the advantage over Chukagian. Chukagian has probably the striking advantage. Not really a power hitter, but she can hit up Cormish and literally just kind of move away and pop shots, 1-2s in out, and try and do that. I think she can do that earlier on. But Cormish is going to want to look to push her against the cage, try and initiate the clinch, and try and take her to the ground, where she probably has the advantage down there as well. I know that Chukagian trains with Henzo Gracie. I think she's a brown belt, I think she is. So, okay, down in the ground as well. Pretty good. So, I'm going to go Chukagian. I'm going to go decision. And I just think she's going to get off enough shots, and more shots that are going to count and more in the judges' eyes. So, close fight. I'm going to kind of 70-30 with it, but I'm with Chukagian in that one via decision. Middleweight division with Rafael Natal against Tim Boetsch. Rafael Natal, these guys have been around for a long, long time. Natal coming off a loss to Robert Whittaker, where Whittaker's just one of the most underrated guys in that middleweight division. One of the most quiet guys that's just sitting there and ready to really put his name in lights, and he might do that against Derek Brunson later this year. Tim Boetsch coming off that win over Josh Saman. Rest in peace, Josh Saman. That was a terrible thing that happened not too long ago. I've been going back and forward in this one. I think it's a 50-50 fight, a pick'em fight, and I'm going to go with Tim Boetsch. Never been the biggest fan, excuse me, of Rafael Natal, but I think that Tim Boetsch is a really tough guy to beat, and he only loses to decent fighters. Dan Henderson caught him where he just wanted to engage with Dan Henderson, and I don't care what age Dan Henderson is, you just don't do that, and he did that, and he paid the consequences. Got submitted by Thales Leites. Leites is still one of the top guys in that middleweight division. He was on a win streak at that point there. Ed Herman one was a bit of an eye-opener. I thought he would have handled Ed Herman up there, and he got knocked out way back in Boston earlier on this year. Before that TKO victory, just a guy with huge strength. A lot of strength, and if he imposes his will on you, you're in big, big trouble. Rafael Natal, forever, he's improving on his feet. He's a more jiu-jitsu guy. But I just think that Boetsch, I don't know, I have a feeling for Tim Boetsch in this fight. I think that he might get enough off on the feet. He might be the quicker fighter with his strikes, with the more power as well. So, and he's got the takedowns there if he wants to use it. Whether he wants to use it against a jiu-jitsu guy in Natal is another thing altogether. Been going back and forward in this one, I must admit, but early on I decided I'm going to go with Tim Boetsch. I haven't seen the lines for any of these fights. I don't know if any are even out. If Boetsch, I think I've got a funny feeling he might be the underdog in this one. It might just be a complete pick 'em fight. I'm going to go Tim Boetsch. I'm going to go a very close split decision. I don't think there's going to be much in it with these two, but it will be Tim Boetsch for a decision. And the premier fight on UFC Fight Pass, Jim Miller against the debutant in the 155-pound division in Thiago Alves. Very, very interesting fight, this one here. It was supposed to be Ali Akinta before he got taken off with his issues with the UFC and Reebok and everything else. So it's a really fun fight. I'm really intrigued to see Thiago Alves at 155 because I've seen that guy in Vegas last year, and the guy's a tank, a legit tank, and just one of those guys that you really... I couldn't believe the size of him. I stood next to him and he was just so wide. But he's one of those guys who's been around UFC for a long time. I remember watching this guy live, UFC 85, I think it was Bedlam in London, if I remember right. It's been that long ago. And the guy's still around, but we haven't really seen much of him. So, Thiago Alves, what is this guy good at? Striking. Huge leg kicks. And really, when he puts them together, really decent combinations. A power striker, but those leg kicks, if he unhurls them things and your leg's in the wrong position, he is hurting you big time. Haven't seen so much of that recently. I mean, he's coming off that loss to is it Carlos Condit the last time we've seen him, which was probably about a year and a half ago down in Brazil, if I remember right. Yeah, that was it. A doctor stoppage there. Before that, he had the win over Jordan Mayen, which I thought was a really fine win in his on his resume. Jordan Mayen coming back at UFC 206, so that's something to kind of look forward to there, especially for the Canadian fans who may be watching here. Seth Brzezinski beat him before that, and then he lost to Martin Kampmann. That would be probably knocking on maybe 3 years ago now. So, yeah, really good striker, really powerful guy. Has cardio issues and making that weight to 155, whether he's been away for the last year and a half, maybe doing everything properly and getting down to a weight where he's not gonna gas and he's not gonna fade. I still see the guy fading. I think that as it hits the middle end of the second round, he is going to be going downhill pretty substantially. But I do see him coming out early and possibly winning that first round with these leg kicks, pressuring Jim Miller a little bit, because I do think Jim Miller is on the decrease in his career, and I think that Thiago Alves can really, if he can get off some crisp striking, I think he could really hurt Jim Miller. I think he could possibly get a finish. We'll talk about Jim Miller. I mean, he's coming off that win over Joe Lozon back in Vancouver. I don't think he won that fight. I thought that was Joe Lozon's victory in that one there, and I was not convinced that he won that fight. It was close. I thought that Joe Lozon did more than enough. Beat Takanori Gomi. Takanori Gomi is pretty much done, I think, with the elite fighters. I think, well, not elite, with top 20, top 25 fighters in that division. He'll never get close to that again. Lost to Diego Sanchez and lost to Michael Chiesa. Chiesa's a guy who's going to be around that top 10 division for the next couple of years, and Sanchez is just a guy you can never count out, and that was a scrappy affair there, and Diego just got the nod in that one, rightfully so. But he did show some really good striking techniques against Joe Lozon, really put himself out there and landed some nice combinations, got hurt himself, got taken down, got dominated a little bit by Joe Lozon on the ground. I thought he won that fight, did Joe Lozon, but this, I think, another close fight, because I can see if Thiago Alves can't finish it early, which is really tough to do against Jim Miller. He's a grizzled vet in this sport. Then once you go into those later rounds, Jim Miller's going to be there, and he's going to be looking for takedowns. He's going to be putting his will, imposing his will on you, and really looking to finish that fight, and if not, finish strong in that fight there. So, and he's another local fighter. He lives close by in New Jersey, so that's going to, these guys who are representing those states around New York and New Jersey and so on, Eddie Alvarez, Pennsylvania, not far off, they're going to be, this is the card they've been looking forward to for a very long time, many years. So this is one of these fights where I'm really if I don't see Alvarez finishing early, Miller has got to be the favourite heading into those last couple of rounds. So yeah, I want to pick Thiago. It's just hard to see Thiago Alvarez at 155. If he looks good on the scales, then I think I may pick. It might be one of these fights where it might be I just think it's a 50-50 fight. I think it's very close. I am going to go with Thiago Alvarez. I'm not overly confident in the pick. I think that I'm kind of 55-45 in his favour in this one, percentage-wise, if you're asking me. I think he's maybe got a good round and a half in it. He gets enough strikes off where he gets catches the judge's eyes with those strikes, and maybe beat up those legs of Jim Miller. If I can't remember right, Miller kind of struggles against southpaws. I think Alvarez, off the top of my head, maybe has a southpaw as well. I'm going to go Thiago Alvarez. Very, very close decision, but I could pretty much see Jim Miller getting a victory as well. If it's hard. I'm going to go Thiago Alvarez. I'm going to stop talking about this fight, pick Thiago Alvarez and stick to it. Alvarez via decision. Welterweight division, a really fun fight, a really well matched fight that's come together with Lyman Good falling out here. So Vicente Luque comes in short notice against Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. So I'm a big supporter and a big fan of Belal Muhammad. I just like the way he fights. Guys in your face, got some really nice techniques, and he goes hard every minute, every second of the fight, and he's got some really nice technique, and love this guy. Love watching the guy fight. Love the fact that he beat up Augusto Montano and got the finish there, and really he looked fantastic in that fight. And I think even in the Joban fight, he looked fantastic in that one and won himself a deserved bonus. In that fight with Lyman Good, I was going to pick him against Lyman Good, but I'm not going to pick him this time. As much as I am a fan of his, I'm going to pick Vicente Luque because I think he's ceiling. This guy he's growing with every fight in the UFC, and he's improving every time you see him. I mean, he beat Haider Hassan. He lost to Michael Graves, and Graves is a guy that I think is a legit fighter and a fighter who could go for it if he can get his head mentally in it. I know he's having some troubles at the minute. Could really move himself forward and be a legit guy in that division. But Vicente Luque, 3-fight win streak, beat Haider Hassan. Beautiful anaconda choke there. Then he went on and he submitted Alvaro Herrera, and then he showed his striking prowess and his win over Hector Urbina with the knockout of the night. Just a beautiful, huge shot when Urbina was backing up against the cage, uncorked this shot and he went down. So this guy can finish in all facets here. Do I think he can knock out Belal Muhammad? I don't think he can. I think he's going to want to try and take this to the ground. Muhammad has that wrestling background, maybe extremely hard to take down. And I don't think initially he will do that. He might put him against the cage and look to take him down from there, clasp his hands, take him down. I think if he can get Muhammad on his back, he could potentially ride on him for 3 rounds and look for the submission through there. And he doesn't take much to get those chokes in. We've seen with the Dosh choke with Herrera, doesn't take much. I don't think Herrera had much submission defense, and Hassan just looked kind of gassed and caught him there. Muhammad's going to be fresh and he's going to be ready to go, so maybe catching a submission is not going to be something that'll happen. But I'm not going to ride another decision out in this one. I went with 3 decisions to start off with. I'm going to go with a submission here. It might be, I think it'll be very hard to pull one off, but I can maybe see Luque just catching something maybe late on in that fight. So I'm going to go our early third round submission for Vicente Luque over Belal Muhammad. Still a huge fan of Belal Muhammad. I just think that Luque is projecting really highly up in that division, and I'll still support Muhammad because I do think he's a really fun fighter, a really good technical fighter. So the pick there is Vicente Luque. Middleweight division, I'm not going to speak about this one too long because I think that Rashad Evans missed the boat on moving to middleweight a long time ago, 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, he should have went down there against Tim Kennedy here. Now, I know Tim Kennedy hasn't been around in a long time, but he's got a win over the current middleweight champion in Michael Bisping and pretty much dominated that fight there. As I say, not really a fan of his. Some of the things that he says I'm not a big fan of, but fighting wise, the guy's a very talented fighter and very hard, very gritty. I mean, his last win was Michael Bisping, and his last fight was against Yoel Romero, where that whole thing with Romero sitting on the stool and just kind of getting more time to relax, that fight could have been stopped there, but Romero came out and finished him in that third round. So yeah, but before that, Bisping, Natal, Hodger, Gracie, I think was maybe one of them, Trevor Smith. So he had 2 finishes and 2 decisions in that one. I just don't think, I mean, Rashad Evans is coming off a loss to Ryan Bader, where Bader looked fantastic, really beat him up in the feet and got the decision victory, and then he got knocked out by Glover Teixeira last time. I just think that even though Tim Kennedy has been out for 2 years, well over 2 years, I think he's in shape. He might have that little bit of rust there after the 2 years off, but I think this is a good opponent to come in against Rashad Evans here. I think that he might just be a little bit, it's hard. I think it might be a little bit back and forth. I don't see him stopping Rashad Evans. Do I see him taking him down? Maybe as it gets into the later rounds and they maybe getting a clinch, because I mean, Kennedy's a very naturally strong fighter. I think that this is going to be a decision. I think it's going to be a decision victory for Tim Kennedy, and good to see him back. It's been a while, and he is a legit guy in that middleweight division, a top 6-7 guy in that division. So Kennedy via decision. Next up, I mean, this is the prelims, and you've got Khabib Nurmagomedov against Michael Johnson. Holy shit. I think this is a close fight. There's been a lot of talk on Twitter. I've seen a lot of people that have been registering things. People are writing off Michael Johnson, and people did this in the Dustin Poirier fight, and look what he did. Now, I know that Khabib is a totally different beast to Dustin Poirier. The guy's undefeated for, let's get that out of the way. If you've got that, if you've never lost, you've got that confidence that you're never going to lose until it actually happens. Michael Johnson is just a sleeper in this fight, and a big underdog in this fight, which I might bet. I'm not 100% saying it yet. I think that some people I may know, maybe half the battle, Dan Levy, I think he could possibly be in Michael Johnson's corner for this one here. But I say Michael Johnson's last performance, he came off that lackluster performance against Nate Diaz, where Diaz got in his head, just beat him up. And Michael Johnson came back in devastating fashion against Dustin Poirier. Poirier got too aggressive, and the complete and utter hand speed that Michael Johnson possesses put Dustin Poirier's lights out. And I thought that Poirier was the guy to watch in that division, and clearly on his day Michael Johnson can beat the elite of this division. Now, he has a wrestling background. Haven't seen an awful lot of it in a long time, because I think he has fell in love with his striking a little bit, because he does have fast hands, he does have power, and he can knock you out. He's going to have to stop submissions here. I think I can see this guy getting off to a fast start. If he can keep his back off the cage, I can see him winning that first round against Khabib, and really, I can see him really putting like Khabib in a really position where he's never really been in the UFC, and that is maybe losing a round or so, and then he has to come through. I can see Michael Johnson winning this first round. I really can. I think he's got really good foot speed, and I think he's got the takedown defense to stop Khabib. Now, I could be completely barking up the wrong tree there, because I also think that Khabib Nurmagomedov takes anybody down in that division. Don't care who you are. Probably the division above as well, welterweight. He takes everybody down. So he's a real kind of legit guy in that division. His grappling is second to none, but we've barely seen the guy fight. I mean, his last fight was against Darrell Horcher, who came in for the injured Tony Ferguson. I was really looking forward to that fight before stuff went down. He beat the former champion, Rafael dos Anjos, and did so very, very easily. Pat Healy. Everybody this guy's faced, he has totally and utterly wiped the floor with. And this could be a thing here where he does the exact same to Michael Johnson. I just don't see it, though. I think Johnson is going to cause this guy problems. And I don't see Khabib stopping him. So it's another decision here. But I am going to go with Khabib Nurmagomedov. I know I've been talking up Michael Johnson here, and if I was a little bit more ballsy, I'd maybe pick him. I might still bet him. I'm still not sure. But I do think that Michael Johnson is going to cause this guy problems. People are writing Michael Johnson off far too easy, just for the simple fact that Khabib is one of the best guys in the division and he's never lost. But Michael Johnson is a legit tough fight in that lightweight division. But I see Khabib Nurmagomedov getting a decision victory there. And your headline fight of the prelims, we have Frankie the Answer Edgar against Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens. Another interesting fight, and another fight here for both guys. Frankie Edgar needs to re-establish himself after that loss where he did get completely dominated by Jose Aldo in that fight, UFC 200. He got Aldo looked motivated. When Aldo looks like that, he's a tough guy for anybody, and that's why a rematch with Conor, even though it doesn't benefit Conor facing Aldo again, would be very, very interesting if he came in with that mindset and the way he looked that night, because he looked superior to Frankie Edgar, and that's hard to do against Frankie because he gives anybody a fight, but he was never really in that fight with Jose Aldo. The guy has the biggest heart in the UFC, without a shadow of a doubt, but this is across like one of these fights where does his career go from here? Does he stay in the featherweight division? I think personally he should make a drop to 135. I think he could possibly win the title down in that division. That division is my favourite division at 135. I mean, Cody Garbrandt has got his title shot at UFC 207 against Dominic Cruz. Looking forward to that one. I mean, but talking about Jeremy Stevens here, this guy bangs. This guy can hit. And in this fight with Renan Barão, a former champion who he beat there, that was a tough fight for Barão at 145, I think, in your debut. Probably lost the first round, but as Barão lost a bit of pep in his shots, Jeremy Stevens came on strong and really put a beating in Barão, and Barão took some big shots in that fight, and he came out there with probably the biggest win in his career over a former UFC champion in Renan Barão. Another close fight, a really, really close fight, which I think there's not going to be a hell of a lot between this, but I see Frankie Edgar's doggedness, his determination to get into the pocket, trade some shots, get back out, just his boxing. His boxing's always been fantastic, and his speed on his feet, in and out, landing shots without really getting hit too much. The chin is a worry because if Stevens cracks him, I think that Edgar goes down definitely. But I'm going to go Frankie Edgar. I'm going to go a decision. I think he's going to mix in his takedowns and just do enough from the feet. I think this could be a 29-28. Stevens could possibly get around there. Maybe a 30-27. Fairly confident in Frankie Edgar though, so I'm going to go Frankie Edgar via decision. Moving on to our main card, our 6-fight main card. Starting off in the women's bantamweight division with Miesha Tate against Raquel Pennington. This is kind of like Frankie Edgar. What does Miesha Tate really do here? She is coming off the fight after she lost her belt to Amanda Nunes, and Nunes completely destroyed her. I think the weight cut had a little bit of that, but you take nothing away from Amanda Nunes. She completely just got in the face of Miesha Tate, and Miesha Tate wanted none of Amanda Nunes, and I was very surprised by that back at UFC 200. But before that, I mean, the Holly Holm fight, she was losing that fight. Let's not beat around the bush. She was losing that fight and pulled a kind of Hail Mary out in round number 5 there. Where is she at her career here? Does she really want to go for that title again and be the best woman in that division, the best woman at the top of that division? I don't think she was ever really the top woman in that division. You've got Ronda there, Holly as well is right up there. Amanda's put herself up there, Juliana Pena as well. So, but I do think in this matchup she is a clear level above Raquel Pennington. Now I don't know whether I'm underestimating Pennington here, because she has shown in every fight that she's making improvements and she's getting better and better and better, and as a fighter that's all you can really do. So I mean, she's coming off, I think she's on a 3-fight win streak since that loss to Holly back at UFC 184. I mean, she beat Ashley Evans-Smith was one of them there. She obviously lost to Holly. Beat Jessica Andrade, submitted her. Like I said earlier on, Jessica Andrade is a legit fighter in that strawweight division, and was a decent fighter in the bantamweight division as well. Betchko here, very, very close fight. That could have went either way, but got a victory over a former title challenger there. And I really wasn't impressed with her performance at UFC 202 against Elizabeth Phillips. If Elizabeth Phillips had better fight IQ, I think she could have won that fight personally. I think Tate's going to want to look for a takedown here, and I think she will get it against Raquel Pennington. I think she could find a submission in this one, so I'm going to go a late second round submission for Miesha Cupcake Tate. Welterweight division, great fight. Kelvin Gastelum. This was think of this, people. This was supposed to be Robbie Lawler against Donald Cerrone. Ooh, just imagine. But a great replacement in Kelvin Gastelum there is a guy who is just a really, really tough guy, coming up, young guy. He's going to be around that division for a long time. And yeah, but Donald Cerrone, I mean, what can you say about the cowboy? I mean, any fight outside a title fight, anything that's a bit of meaning, you can't go against Donald Cerrone. And a lot of people were picking Rick Story against him last time, and I've never felt as confident in picking Donald Cerrone. I'm very, very confident in Donald Cerrone here, because just though while at the 170 pound weight division, I don't see where you could go against Donald Cerrone here, because everything that he showed us in this division has been nothing short of incredible. I mean, that finish of Rick Story, that combination was incredible. That's one of my favourite parts of MMA in 2016, just that combination, the way he finished him, and he completely dominated him in that fight as well. Story's you don't really dominate Story like that too much. Damon Maia did it, but not too many others do that. Knocked out Patrick Cote with a beautiful shot. Alex Oliveira just had his way with him and got a beautiful submission there. And then, I mean, he lost to Dos Anjos, title fight. Something got in his head, he got taken out. McDessie, Benson Henderson. It's really hard to pick against this guy. I mean, Kelvin Gastelum, the Ultimate Fighter winner of a few years back, really good win his record against Johnny Hendricks at UFC 200. But Hendricks, I think, is done. I think he is completely done in the sport, and I just don't see him making the comeback to the fighter he was a few years ago. But this is the guy here that I think that Kelvin's going to want to try and... It's hard to do against Cowboy. What do you do? Because if you take him, it's like pick your poison with Cowboy, because he's got that elite striking, the elite kickboxing, where he's going to really put a hurting on you. If you stay neutral there, he's going to pick you apart with leg kicks, body kicks. I do think that Kelvin Gastelum, one of the things that he should do here is go after the body of Donald Cerrone. He can be got at, like Pettis did, I think Dos Anjos maybe did a little bit as well. So that should be an area of maybe concern for Cerrone, that maybe Gastelum should go there. Will he do that? I don't think he will. He had that loss to Neil Magny before that win, I think, against Hendricks. He lost to Tyron Woodley, the champion. That was a close fight. He came way vastly overweight in that one there. I can't go against Donald Cerrone at welterweight the way he's looked, and I just think he's going to continue the trend here. Gastelum is a tough guy, but I think Cerrone could finish him here. I'm going to go with a submission finish in the late second round for the Cowboy. If not, I can see him get a decision victory. But my official pick, Donald Cowboy Cerrone via a second round submission. Middleweight division, Chris Weidman against Yoel Romero. Now, this has been one, literally, I've been on Twitter probably half an hour ago. I'll be half an hour in this video, and I was still going back and forth on this fight, because it's hard to see. I mean, Weidman's coming off a really tough injury. Romero's coming off, I think they've both been out for about 9 months anyway, but I mean, Romero's been out with his ongoing legal issues or whatever it is regarding drugs and stuff, whether he took anything. He had a sentence where he got a suspension there. So I don't like picking against Yoel Romero, because I think this guy is a freak and he's got God-given talents, which if you have that in your corner, like a John Jones, he's got God-given talents that you can always bring those talents out at any time. And he's did that in the past. I mean, that fight with Derek Brunson, he lost 2 rounds in that. He was down to come out big in the third. That fight with Jacare, he dropped Jacare very, very early in the first round, in the middle of the first round, and he kept himself in it there with his wrestling, survived attacks on the ground from Jacare. Lyoto Machida, he was always kind of ahead in that one. Machida was being the point fighter that he is, and then he just uncurled a big shot there. Chris Weidman, he's coming off that loss to Luke Rockhold, where through a spinning back kick, head kick, and he got taken down. Chris Weidman shouldn't be doing that. He should be sticking to his crisp boxing and his wrestling that he can use there. I think wrestling wise, Yoel Romero's got this here if he wants it, but he never seems to use it too much. And I think that Weidman could actually stuff maybe a takedown or two, but Yoel's, if he consistently goes at it, I think that he can get Chris Weidman down. This is when it's hard to pick against the New York guys in this card. It really is, especially someone like Weidman, and coming off that loss that he lost his belt in not long ago. I'm going to go, I think the Weidman, what he needs to do is, I think this is a fight that he needs to try and be the aggressor in the cage and get off first and just watch for the power shots of Yoel Romero. And I think if he does that and stifles the takedowns, because I think Romero, if he's losing that fight, he is going to go to that wrestling. I can just see Weidman stopping a takedown. Not too many people can do that in the division if Romero really puts his mind to it. I'm going to pick Chris Weidman via a very close split decision. This is a 50-50 fight for me. Actually, I'm probably, earlier on I was edging Yoel Romero. I probably was about an hour ago, but I'm going to go, just with being at home, this fight coming off that loss to Luke Rockhold, he really needs to re-establish himself against a legit guy in that division. I'm going to go a split decision victory for Chris Weidman against Yoel Romero. Now we're on to our first of 3 title fights here in the women's strawweight division. We have the champion Joanna Jedrzejczyk against the challenger, also from Poland, both girls from Poland here, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Now I picked against Joanna in our last fight, and first 2 rounds it was looking like I made a really good pick there until Gadelha really, her gas tank let her down, and Joanna, just her ferociousness came through and won her that fight. Just her elite striking, her combinations are just, she's always in your face throwing shit and ready to like just bite down the mouthpiece and just let's go at it, and came through in that fight, won 48-47. But I mean, those first 2 rounds were gnarly for Jedrzejczyk. She took some shots. I think she got dropped early in the first round by a jab by Gadelha, and yeah, I mean that was a great. That's one of my favourite fights of 2016 as well. But just for the way that Joanna really kept on coming, she never stopped, and just a great victory. She's unbelievable to watch. She really is. Her striking is different level. I mean, we've seen this girl coming back before she came into Cage Warriors a few years ago, and since she's come into the UFC, she's just blossomed, and she's a great fighter. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I think a lot of people are really underestimating her a little bit, and I think that she's gonna have moments in this fight. I don't see it being clear cut for Joanna Jedrzejczyk in this. Karolina, since she's come into the UFC, her last performance against, it was Heather Jo Clark. Her striking in that one, her combinations, her clinch work, her feints, were just spectacular in that one, and that was a good fight because Clark, as I say, she's not great fighter, but then she moved up and she faced Rose Namajunas, and she won that fight, and she hurt Rose Namajunas with some beautiful combinations in that one there, and just really sent out a message. I think she's got the better gas tank probably here than Joanna. I think over 5 rounds she's going to be there and she can go. Do I think she has the power to beat Joanna? I don't think she does. I think these girls faced a way back in the amateurs as well, or a way back in the day in a contest, and Joanna won that one. I think the more technical striker, and I might be a little going out on a limb here, is maybe Karolina. I think she's the more crisp striker. I think the faster and harder hitting fighter is Joanna Jedrzejczyk in this one here, and her hand speed is searing. But I think Kowalkiewicz is going to take rounds off this girl, and I just see it being really close, really close. And I think once we go past round 3, I don't think she's going to flake like Gadelha did. I think if she can go off to a quick start, she can maintain that through rounds 4, 5 and be right there when those judges' scorecards have been there. Can she get enough off, and can she keep her back off the cage when Joanna is coming forward? That's what she needs to do. She needs to pivot, she needs to get her back away from that cage and get in the centre there and try and land her crisp strikes. I think if it goes into clinch, Karolina has the advantage there, so that might be something she wants to do in this fight. Whether Joanna lets that happen, maybe put her against the cage, can Kowalkiewicz, and land some shots there, some elbows like she did against Heather Jo Clark. Close fight. I see this going to decision. I am going to pick Joanna Jedrzejczyk, but I think Karolina, if you're going to bet Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I think that's a good bet personally, because I think she can really give Joanna Jedrzejczyk some problems. So I'm going to pick Joanna champion via a 48-47 scorecard yet again, and retains her title once again and makes another defence of her title. But I can see Karolina give her problems. I really can. 48-47 for Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Second title fight of the night, welterweight champion Tyron Woodley defends his UFC title for the very first time as he faces the Wonderboy Stephen Thompson. Really intriguing fight this, because I'm a big Stephen Thompson fan, but I'm also a really big admirer of Tyron Woodley, because the guy's been, I mean, he did his own thing and he's kept his word, and he stayed out for a long time before he got that title shot, and he came in against Robbie Lawler, never took a shot, and really dropped the hammer on Robbie Lawler and just was spectacular in doing that. UFC 201. What amazes me with Tyron Woodley is the guy's, over a short distance, his speed from going from neutral to there, like he did with Robbie Lawler, was incredible. And it's just something that not many guys have. And he's got the wrestling to back up. The guy's a power hitter. He hits you, you go down. We've seen that with Dong Young Kim. We've seen it with Josh Koscheck in the past. And we've seen it with Robbie Lawler. The guy's got God-given talents. The guy's got a great physique for the sport as well. If the fight goes later on, you have to edge Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. There is not a better point fighter in the UFC than Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. This guy won a lot of tournaments with that point fighting, and he won his biggest fight of his career against Rory McDonald in Ottawa back in the summer by point fighting, pivoting off, hitting strikes, leg kicks, and just being the faster fighter. And he was always in first against Rory McDonald and really put a beating on Rory. And Rory really couldn't do much with him. I've seen people say this is a very similar fight to Johnny Hendricks, and that I don't think that's something that's particularly far away. I think that could be quite close, but Tyron Woodley is not a guy who, I think Johnny Hendricks was done when the guys fought. I still think he's done. I'm not on the Johnny Hendricks bandwagon for that one. Tyron Woodley is going up, and the guy's at the peak of his career, and he's got that belt now and he wants to keep it. Can he get in those short distances and get those shots off to get Wonderboy with and really hurt him? I'm struggling to see it. I really am. But all it takes is one shot from Tyron, and this fight will be done if he catches him properly. But Stephen Thompson is just a guy who his skill set is so versatile and so good, and he's did it so many times over before he went to UFC and his other martial arts exponents, that I think he's going to get it done here. I'm going to go a 4th round TKO victory for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. If not, I can see him outpointing Tyron Woodley. I'm not underestimating Tyron Woodley here. I just think this is a bad stylistical matchup for T Wood here. So I'm going to pick the Wonderboy via 4th round TKO. Sorry guys, I'm just going to get a little sip of something here. Now, the main event of the night, your UFC Lightweight Champion Eddie Alvarez against Conor McGregor for the UFC Lightweight Championship, like I just alluded to. I mean, wow. This could be history made by Conor McGregor here. Can Eddie Alvarez stop the hype again, because Conor McGregor's got that back. I don't think he ever lost it against Nate Diaz. He maybe lost a little bit, but he came back and really put on a performance against Nate Diaz. Diaz is a tough mofo, and I loved what Conor McGregor did in that fight and learned from his mistakes from the first fight. But let's start with Eddie Alvarez. I think the guy's one of the legends of the lightweight division across any company. The guy, I mean, I was just watching his fight before this against Nick Thompson. He got knocked out in that one. He got hit with a big left in that one as well, back in Bulldog when that was at welterweight. But he's fought some great fights. Michael Chandler fights were amazing. And I was watching the Toby Amada fight where he submitted a legit jiu-jitsu guy. This guy, as well, Eddie Alvarez has a clear path to win this fight. Whether he can do it is a different thing altogether, because I think he needs to do what he did to Anthony Pettis. Put your back against the cage and take you down and be dogged in that one. The one thing that took away from that fight was close. Pettis did well in that one. But when that went in the third round, Alvarez was gassed. Bad. Very, very bad. You watch that fight in the third round. I don't think he can do that for 3 rounds against a guy against Conor McGregor, whose power stays with him throughout the fight, and he can hurt you throughout the fight there. But I think he will take, if he doesn't get hit early, he will take Conor McGregor down. I've no doubt about it, even though McGregor has some pretty decent takedown defence. But I can see him taking McGregor down. I really can. But there's 2 sides to Eddie Alvarez. We've seen that in the Dos Anjos fight. I watched Dos Anjos versus Alvarez last night, and when you watch over again, Dos Anjos hit Alvarez with some really substantial strikes, especially with the left hand. Some left straights. He hit him with a big right uppercut. Hit him with a body kick. Hit him with a couple of really huge inside leg kicks, which I think Conor McGregor should use more. He showed that against Diaz. Diaz is always prone to that, but that's something I think he needs to use more. But once Alvarez landed that big right, then the dog, like he said, came out of him, and he was just balls to the wall and was going for it, and he was far too open. Now, I know he had Dos Anjos hurt. If he thinks he has McGregor hurt and he goes in like that, McGregor is going to starch him. He's going to catch him with his crisp striking, not unless McGregor is on Queer Street and is really, really struggling. So I think Alvarez needs to go to the fight like he had with Melendez, which was very close. The fight with Pettis, which was very, very close. And we've seen, in that Cerrone fight, that you can get this guy with leg kicks. So that's where I think Conor should really use something in this one. Whether he does it because that's just an open avenue for Eddie Alvarez to catch that leg and take him down, that's a possibility there. But I do see Alvarez taking McGregor down at some point. I really, really do. Now, let's go on to Conor McGregor. Let's talk about UFC 202, because he had a great game plan for that one. And we've seen that he knew pretty much that he wasn't going to get Nate Diaz out there. So he had to really keep a really solid game plan across those 5 rounds. And he came out very, very, very big in the first 2 rounds. Had a couple of knockdowns. I think he maybe had 3 knockdowns if I'm wrong. And used leg kicks and really beat up Nate Diaz with the leg kicks and just kept himself and never threw too many combinations. In the first fight, he was overextending, reaching for Diaz, and many times that left him gassed. And we've seen what happened in that fight. It took effect and he got taken out in that one. But just a great game plan. Heart. People always say, oh, McGregor, he's not a championship fighter, this, that. That guy went hard for 5 rounds and came through a very tough time in the 3rd round. Then came out in the 4th round, won that round, and the 5th round, I thought was Nate Diaz's round, but he got that 48-47 card, which I thought he deserved. People were saying it was a 10-8 for Diaz in 1 round. That's bullshit in my opinion. But regarding this matchup, Conor McGregor has got the firepower, and Eddie Alvarez has been put down in the past. I think there's a 6-inch reach advantage here for Conor McGregor. I think what he needs to do is really keep his back off the cage in this one. If he can do that, he's going to get shots off on Eddie Alvarez. Alvarez is going to have to be shooting, like he said at the press conference, you're going to be shooting for your life, and I'm just going to be picking you off for every angle. and that's something I think he can do. And I think that 155 is Conor McGregor's best division. I've been saying that since I was in Dublin for the Ivan Buchinger fight, and he looked spectacular in that one. And Buchinger, I've had people say to me, who is Ivan Buchinger? You people need to go out and watch some fights, because Buchinger is a legit guy who would beat good guys in the UFC. I believe that was his last lightweight fight. So yeah, and that was a brutal knockout. But I just see Conor McGregor getting off. I really do. I think I can see this maybe being similar to Chad Mendes. As long as he doesn't get hit with big strikes, he can't keep relying on that chin, because the wars that he's been in with Diaz 2 times, they're going to take effect. I think that just the power, I don't think that Alvarez has faced anybody with the power of what Conor McGregor possesses in that left hand. I think Conor should really use leg kicks and really look to use body kicks as well, and really put a hurting on him there. Don't see it happening though. I think Conor, Dos Anjos in that one as well, just thinking there, he clipped him with a left high kick. Might be something that McGregor goes back to like he did early on his fight career in the UFC. But finding it hard to pick against Conor McGregor, and I know I'm going to get shit for this, because every time I seem to pick Conor McGregor I get a lot of shit. Oh, you're picking him again. And I've only been wrong once. In fact, twice I've been wrong. I was wrong back early on in UFC. His first fight, actually, I picked Marcus Brimage. I mean, what the fuck was I doing? Who the fuck is that guy, really? What was I doing there? But yeah, I've only lost on him a couple of times. I just think this is not a perfect fight. I think this is a really good fight. If you're asking, I thought Dos Anjos he was going to beat anyway, but I think he can get to the chin of Alvarez. I think he's going to be faster. I think he hits harder. I just think this is a good matchup for him. I really do. And I'm going to pick Conor McGregor, but I'm going to pick him in the second round. So I'm going to pick a TKO victory in round number 2 for Conor McGregor to become a 2-division UFC champion and hold 2 belts at one time. And then 2017, it's just going to be a huge year for the guy all across the sport, and we'll see what's going to happen next year. So 52 minutes in, guys. This is a long one, but I felt like it had to be, because UFC 205 is just a ridiculous event, ridiculous fights. You do not want to miss this fight card. If you're going to, we don't pay for our fight cards over here, we pay a subscription to BT monthly, but if you have to pay for this PPV, I recommend you do this one, because I think the crowd, there's going to be a lot of Irish travelling over. It's not a long air ride over there to New York, and we all know what New York's like for the Irish over there. So do not miss this fight card. I mean, if, like I said before, if you would like to win this, leave your name down in there. I will add you to the other names that I have already. If you don't follow me on Twitter, come in there, because it's really a Twitter one that I want to do, but I will still count the guys there, because I don't think it's fair that you guys should be left out. So if you want to win that, tell me below and I will enter you into that. So yeah, that's my picks for UFC 205, guys. Like always, please support the guys down below in the drop down box, because they are some of the best guys out there. I forgot the Bookie Beatdown as well, which is a fight week must. After that, I would do the UFC Fight Night 99, I think it is, Musashi versus Hall 2 from Belfast, Ireland, which I'm going to be going to. So if there's any Irish fans going there that watch this video, hit me up. I'll be there from the Wednesday to the Sunday. Looking forward to some more live fights with the UFC. So that will be out probably the week of UFC 205. So check that out when it comes there. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your picks. That's one of the things I want to talk to you guys. I want to see what your picks are for this one. And if you can share, I would really appreciate that. So until the next time, enjoy Mexico next week, and then we've got New York here. So enjoy yourself when the card comes around, and I will see you all there. And also, I'll probably do a live Conor McGregor one like I've done in the last few ones, where I film myself watching the fight. So take care, support the guys down below, and I will catch you all very, very soon.